Hey everybody, welcome back to Garage Band Guitarist for the last time. This is the final lesson in this series, in this course. We've reached the end, and I hope that you have enjoyed this course. I must say, I personally am sorry to see it end, but this is a good chunk of material. This really does set you up to play in a garage band and really be able to learn tons and tons of songs and get better as a guitar player. Knowing everything in this course will put you in very good stead to be a guitar player and be able to build on that as you go forward. If you've gotten through this course and you're feeling pretty confident about playing the stuff that we've learned, I'm sure it'll take you time to practice all this up, but you're more than ready to play in a garage band. Clearly there's a lot more to learn about playing guitar. You can spend your whole lifetime. I'm still learning. I'm sort of in the middle of guitar skill. People might call me an intermediate guitar player or something like that. So there's always more to learn, but with this stuff in this course, you've got a really solid foundation that would allow you to play thousands of songs competently. Okay, you have to practice, obviously, but the tools that I've introduced to you in this course will take you a long way. You could probably, if you really got everything down in this course, you could play for years in a band with absolutely no problem at all. So, you've learned how to extend things too. In this course, with the different pieces and the way we've come at learning chords, you actually know how to play a couple of hundred chords now, okay? And there's more chords out there, and there's more complicated music theory and things like that, but you've got some really good basic foundational knowledge that you can build on to learn other things as you advance along in your guitar playing, okay? And one of my goals in this course is for you to learn songs and be able to play songs. And you have learned a whole bunch of songs along the way of learning everything else in this course. I think we've learned just about 60 songs. You've learned about 60 songs as we've gone through. That's a couple of sets worth of songs that you could choose from to put together your first gig of 10 songs or 20 songs or whatever it is. So you've really got a lot in your command now from the material that we've covered in this course. And you can continue to add little bits and pieces as you go along and as you keep improving as a guitar player. There's a couple little lead parts and things that we had in the very last lesson with the power chord songs are examples of little things that you can add in as you learn a song. And then you can add these little parts in to make the song fill out more and sound more like what's actually on the record. So you've got a lot to work with. But most importantly, I hope that the way that I've gone at this and what you've learned here will allow you to have fun playing and to have fun practicing and fun as you're learning more stuff. That's really what I was hoping to accomplish with this course. So I hope that's been achieved. You might be asking yourself at this point, like, where do I go from here? Like, what should I learn next? Where do I find that stuff? So let me cover some little tidbits that might help you with next steps if you want to keep on going. The first thing that I would say, and probably the most important thing in terms of continuing to improve your guitar playing, is to play with other people. Find a friend to play along with, or get in a little band. Find some other people that are relative beginners and get together and pick out a few songs and learn them together. It'll help you so much to play with other people in a couple of different ways. So don't be shy. It'll make you practice more because you've got practice coming up with other people, and you need to know your part, right? And so it'll get you to the guitar more often. Playing with other people also helps you improve your timing. Now, I've done this in a way because I have you playing along with recordings. That's really going to help you with that a lot. But it's also good to do it with other people, and you kind of learn how to coordinate yourself with starting up songs and things like that, and just staying together and staying even with the beat and so forth like that. If you're playing with another person or another couple people, it's a really good way to enhance that kind of musical skill. Okay, and it's just a lot more fun to play with other people too. I mentioned at the beginning that I've built relationships with folks that have lasted a lifetime essentially because we get together and play music, and so it's just a lot of fun, and we all look forward to it, and we'll be texting each other and say, I need to have a band weekend, it's been a tough work week, and we'll be like, all right, let's get together, and we have a great opportunity to just hang out, have fun with each other, play some music, and let off some steam. It's a great way to do that. So I hope that you will find others to play with. It will really add a lot to your guitar playing. Okay. Another thing I would suggest to you is, if you're through this course, you're ready, okay, to get out there and play in front of some kind of audience. So I would encourage you to do that. It might seem nerve-wracking at first, and some people have a little trouble getting over that initial stage fright, but get out there soon. Hey, make some mistakes. It's okay. And then you're going to be done, and your friends are going to clap for you and everything, and most people in the audience are really, really nice, and so they'll appreciate what you're doing no matter what. And then you will have survived making some mistakes in front of people too, and you realize, it ain't that big of a deal. I mean, nobody even remembers, tomorrow that you made mistakes. Okay, it's not that big of a deal. Pick out somewhere, 2 to 10 songs and work them up. Get them ready, and you'll be ready to go. You can go to an open mic somewhere, play a couple songs, or you can play at a house party, or get a little coffee house gig. You'd be surprised how easy it is to get those, especially if you don't think that much of yourself. You try to charge a bunch of money or something. It's a pretty easy thing to do, and getting out there like that I guarantee you that it'll ramp up your playing, because you'll want to make sure you're ready for that, and you'll practice to do that. So I really think that's a great way to improve yourself. Okay, if you go out and play somewhere, you're going to need something more than what I have talked about in this course. Okay, you can't just get away with a guitar most of the time. Now, there might be some places that are quiet enough that you can just go with an acoustic guitar and sing along, and it'll be okay. But usually, just because people in a room, they make noise and they talk and stuff, you're going to need sound reinforcement. Okay, you're going to need some sort of amplification to project your sound. Okay, so you're going to need an amp of some kind. If you're going to sing, you're going to need a microphone and a mic stand too. You can't hold the mic when you're playing guitar. You've got to have a stand do it for you. And so you can purchase those things pretty cheaply, actually. The standard vocal mic that everybody uses across the industry is the Shure, S-H-U-R-E, the Shure SM58. It costs about $100, okay? But you can get mics that do approximately that same thing for $30 or $40 if you just look online. And you can just look for things that are roughly equivalent to that, and you'll be fine. It'll be fine, okay? If you're playing an acoustic guitar, you can get a little amp that will handle both a mic and your guitar, okay? And there's a lot of amps out there that are made specifically for that purpose. I have a couple of them. I have one right over there. It's just a little one. I don't know. It costs maybe $150 or something. I can't remember now. It's the Acoustic A40. The brand is called Acoustic, and the specific amp is called the A40. And it's set up to take a microphone. It's got one channel that's for the microphone, and it's got one channel that's for your guitar. And that's all you need if you're going to go play by yourself at a coffee hop or something. Just bring that little thing with you. It's very small. It's like this big. And you set it down, plug your microphone in, set your stand up, plug your guitar in, you're ready to go. I have a bigger version of it too that takes 2 guitars and 2 mics, but I think that's called the A100 or something. I don't know. but those are really great, and there's other versions of it that other companies make. It doesn't have to be the acoustic brand. Okay? Fender makes one. There's some other companies that make ones that do that. Okay? If you're playing an electric guitar, you're definitely going to need an amp, right? You can't hear the electric guitar at all without the amp. And amps are great these days. I mean, it used to be that finding a decent amp was a tough job, and But now, just a small one, will have plenty of power for most of the things you need. For maybe, no more than $200. You can get an amp that's going to work for you in just about any situation for an electric guitar. And it'll have stuff built into it, like the distortion or the overdrive that I was using in the last couple of lessons, right? So make sure you get that, okay? If you buy an older amp, it won't have that stuff in it, and you have to buy extra external equipment, pedals or whatever, in order to produce that distortion or that overdrive sound, and you're going to need it, right? So definitely, you can get one, and it doesn't really even cost any more these days to have the overdrive and the distortion. Just almost all the amps will have that built in, and they'll probably have some other kinds of stuff too that can make the sound have kind of an echo, make you sound like you're in a bigger room, or can thicken up the sounds in different ways. So they'll have reverb. You definitely want to get that. That'll be in almost every amp. Or maybe some kind of delay, it's called. That's what gives you an echo. Or maybe some other stuff like something called chorus, kind of thickens up the sound. But you can get an amp with all that stuff in it for less than $200 easy. And it used to be a real trial. You buy an amp, and then you got to buy all these different pedals, and you end up spending a lot of money. But now it all comes in a small package, and it sounds great. I mean, it's really impressive what's happened to this stuff over the years. Okay, so that's equipment. What should you learn next? Okay, well, the obvious thing is to start figuring out leads. Where you're playing single notes. Things like that. And there's solos where people play those, and those kind of leads also make up little breaks and things in the song, and intros and outros, okay, at the end of the song. So that's another thing to learn. You can learn them note by note by going online and looking up what the lead is for that song, okay, and there'll be someone will show you. You can go on YouTube and find a lead for just about anything, and someone will teach you how to play it, okay? But there's patterns and there's scales and things behind that, and that's another level of learning on the guitar, and it's a good thing to know. And if you really want to be able to just improvise and ad-lib these kind of things, then you've got to invest more time in understanding how scales and chords fit together and where these scales are and how to play them on the guitar. Okay, that's a big task, and that's why I didn't take it on in this course. But there's some kind of relatively simple patterns that can be used with tons and tons of chords and lots of the kind of music that we've been playing that you can learn pretty quickly. And so if you want to go down that road soon, look for some tutorials online on something called the pentatonic, Pentatonic, pentatonic scale. And that pentatonic scale, once you learn the pattern of how it appears on the guitar neck, you can apply it in tons and tons of situations. It's very, very flexible as a scale, and you can use it across lots of music, blues and rock and pop and all that kind of music, okay? All right, if you want to learn more songs, this is very straightforward in terms of finding material. You just go into YouTube and in the search bar put in how to play and put the name of the song, okay? So how to play Surrender by Cheap Trick, okay? And you search and you'll find multiple, usually, people showing you how to play that song, okay? The quality of those will vary quite a bit, and they won't all agree on how to play the song. They'll give you different ways of coming at it because people are, learning it by ear, and, it's not always exactly the same as the recording, and there's multiple recordings, and the artists themselves don't play it exactly the same way every time. So you'll find varying advice on there. But you can kind of sift through those and find ones that are fitting your ears and your abilities at those points to learn how to play those songs. Some instructors online will give you kind of a straightforward, no frills way to play it. They won't put in a lot of extra stuff. They'll give you what you need, kind of like we did in this course, to get you through the song, okay? And not all of the little, bells and whistles and flashes and stuff that are part of the recorded song. There's a guy in there called Marty. His channel is called Marty Music. And he does that. That's basically how he comes at those songs. And I think he does a real nice job of playing them in these teaching them in these really straightforward ways. So if you see a song that you want to learn and you find the Marty Music version of that, it'll be a good straightforward way of getting that song under your belt. Other people will really take the song apart, every little nuance, every little lick, every note, and where to play it on the neck, and how to manipulate your pick, and just everything you can think of to try to produce the sound. They'll even go into amp settings and guitar pickup settings and things, and those are great too when you want to really dig in, and that's pretty advanced, and so. You may not be ready for that now. You aren't ready for that now. But those can be really interesting too as you're trying to learn a song more completely. There's a lot of people that do that well out there. There's one guy, his name is Carl Brown, and his site is called Guitar Lessons 365. And all of these people have an option for you to pay and go in and take more lessons from them, and he does too. But he's got a lot of them actually just out on YouTube, and you can learn these really detailed nuances of these songs from him, and he does a nice job at sort of tracking everything down in the song and showing you how to do it. So there's others, there's many others out there as well, but those are a couple that I would suggest taking a look at. You might have to kind of watch a few for the same song and, kind of just discern what the quality is, okay? But there's some really good ones out there, and there's some that aren't so good too. So, all right. You can also just punch in the name of a song and the word chords, okay? So, Running Down a Dream, chords, okay? Just punch that in your Google search, and you'll find all over the place. You'll find people have written out the lyrics and put the chords above the words in the songs, okay? And again, there will be disagreements among those, and some of them are just plain wrong, I can tell you. And so you'll have to do a little sifting, but you can easily find chords for just about any song by just doing what I said with Google. If you want the real deal, though, folks, if you want the real deal, there's a site called Ultimate Guitar, and it is a site that has a huge catalog of songs, and they lay everything out you could possibly want to know about the song. This isn't a person sitting there teaching. It's laid out on the screen for you. It gives the chords and the lyrics and every single note, and there's backing tracks, and it plays through the song, and you can slow it down and speed it up, and it gives you the strumming patterns, when to go up, down, up. It tells you how to tune the guitar. If you do something different, it tells you where to put a capo if you need to do that. I mean, it just gives you everything you could possibly want to know about these songs. And there's different versions, so they'll have their official version that they made, which are usually the best and the most detailed. But then there's ones other people have made too, and they'll have ratings beside them, and you can go in there and find other ones that are pretty good. You can't get their pro ones, their official ones, without getting a subscription. And so, if you really want to get the best possible out of that Ultimate Guitar site, you got to pay for a subscription. Is it worth it or not? Well, that depends on you, okay? It's something like $100 a year, I think. And so it's not a huge cost, but it's not nothing either. But I think it's worth it for me. When I'm struggling with a song, I'm sort of stuck on something, I'm listening to it, I've got the whole song figured out by ear, except this one little part, I just can't figure out what they're doing. And I'm like, what in the world, how are they playing that, And so I'll go onto that site and dig around and find that part of the song where they have it written out, and it usually solves the problem for me. It shows me how to get unstuck, okay? And you know, it's got chord charts and everything that you could want. And so, you know, if you're going to use it on a regular basis, it's worth it, right? But it's an incredible site in terms of just the wealth of knowledge that's there. And I mean, just about any song you can think of, you can find at least some version of it on Ultimate Guitar, even songs that aren't guitar songs. And they'll show you how to play it with a ukulele and a banjo and stuff on some of the songs. I mean, it's really impressive. So if you want to really dig in, Ultimate Guitar is the way to go. By the way, I don't know any of these people. I'm just telling you what you need to know. I don't get any money from that endorsement at all, anything. So this is for you, not for them. Okay. All right. Let's see. As you're going along at this point too, you want to find songs that are at the right level of challenge for you. And some of the stuff is just going to be too tough. You know, like don't go in and start trying to learn how to play Eruption by Eddie Van Halen. Okay. You're not ready for that. But how can you find ones that are appropriate for you? Well, it's, you know, it takes a little bit of work. Sometimes you got to try it and just kind of discover that one's going to be too hard. Sometimes you can tell by listening to it that it's just too much. But I will say, if you found songs in this course, in the 60 songs that we did that you like, and that you were able, I put in songs that you would be able to manage, so you can manage them. Try finding some other songs by those same artists. Okay, so if you like the song and it was in this course, go find some more songs by that artist, and they'll be in the same general level of difficulty. Now, some of them will probably be too hard, and some of them will be really easy, but there'll be some that are in that range of the same song that you already learned in this course. And so that's a good way to find things that are in this sort of same general realm of difficulty. Okay. You will also notice that there is different kinds of notation when they're trying to show you what to play. And there's several different kinds of notation, but the two main ones are standard musical notation, and I'm putting up a little piece here that's got the same thing written in standard notation at the top, and then in what's called tablature at the bottom. Those are the two main kinds, standard music notation and tablature. Now, if you've never had any exposure to music, the top one's not for you. I mean, that's a lot to learn what all those different things mean, okay? That's just not going to work for you at this point, because you got to learn what all those different symbols mean and what the placement on the lines is and all of that. That's a lot to learn. So I don't recommend that if you haven't had any music experience previously. If you have, then you can if you could look at those and tell me what those notes are, what that one down at the very first note down at the bottom there is, and the second one and the third one. You can tell me what those notes are, then you can use this notation. You can use that notation. But what I think is more helpful when you're playing the guitar is the tablature. Okay. Now, some people don't like tablature, and they sort of dismiss it and say you shouldn't do that. It's a crutch, that kind of thing. As you probably know already, I don't go for that. Okay. If it helps you, it's a good thing. And tablature has a lot more information in it than a standard musical notation. Okay. One example is that there are multiple ways to play notes on the guitar, right? And so the fact that that third note up there on the staff on the top part there is a G. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a G, but you can play that same G at different spots on the guitar. You can play it here, you can play it here, you can play it here. Okay, and so which one are you supposed to do? Well, standard music notation is not set up for guitar, and so it doesn't tell you that, right? And so you kind of got to figure it out by where the other things are. Okay, well, tablature defeats that problem. It tells you exactly where to play that note. Okay, and so tablature, the lower part right here, what those are just your guitar strings. Okay, and so the lowest one on the bottom is the lowest string on the guitar. Okay, so where do we play that first note? We play that first note on the 3rd fret on that string. That's what it's telling us. So that 3, 5, 5 is telling us to go 3 on the E string, and then 5 on the A string, and then 5 on the D string. Okay? And so that's telling us exactly where to play it. Now, it's not telling us the name of the note, and that's what musical purists don't like, because you can learn the whole song just by looking at these numbers without knowing what the notes are. Okay? By the way, if you just tried to play along with me on that, it didn't work because this guitar is tuned down a whole step. Okay? I was using it for something else, and I just grabbed it so I'd have a visual in this video. But I'm tuned down a whole step, so that won't sound the same as your guitar if you play it. But so anyhow, so 3, it tells me 3, 5, 5, right? And then 4 on the next one for that B note, okay? And so on. And so it tells me exactly what string and what fret to use. The numbers are always the frets. There's other little symbols in there. You see by that 1, 3 there, there's a little line going up, right? And that means that you go like that, okay? And there's a bunch of other things that they put in tablature to tell you other things to do bends and things like that in the tablature, okay? If it's a chord, they'll have them stacked right on top of each other. So if it was 3, 5, 5 that you were playing all at once, there'd be a 3, 5, 5. They'd be lined up right on top of each other, like that. Power chord, okay? That's what a power chord would look like, okay? All right, so just so you know what you're seeing when you see tablature. And so you can read tablature right now. All you need to know is fret numbers and strings, and you're good to go. And it'll tell you exactly what to do. Even if you're playing something way up here, it'll say 17, 19, 21, you know, it'll tell you exactly what to play. And so it's a great way to understand what exactly to play, not just the notes that are supposed to be sounded by the guitar. Okay. All right. So that's tablature, or tab, as people call it. All right. I think that's about it. I wanted to finish off with one last thing. Okay, and that's back to the garage band wardrobe. And I said in an earlier lesson that the uniform for the garage band is a black concert t-shirt. You know, you can go gray or something if you have to, but a black concert t-shirt and black jeans or blue jeans if you have to. Okay, but that's the standard uniform for garage bands, and believe me, you see it all the time. Okay, it's absolutely hilarious how much we conform to that standard. But there's a couple of additional things and nuances, okay? One thing people will tell you, if you're in a band and you go out and play, you shouldn't wear your own band's t-shirt. You should wear some other band's. So, you know, I shouldn't be wearing, according to them, this is Quest, this is my band, this is our t-shirt, okay? Shouldn't be wearing that Quest t-shirt, because that's my band. I don't go for that. I wear our band's t-shirt almost every time we play. Okay, out when we play out. You know, and I think it's fun to have that part of our uniform. But you'll hear people say that, and I think it's egotistical or something to have your own band on the t-shirt. So if you want to play it safe, you know, get your Aerosmith or your Kiss t-shirt, not your own band's t-shirt. Okay. And then 2 other things just to make yourself a lot cooler when you're playing. The first thing is headgear. And you know, in this rock and roll world, you know, you should have these kind of bandana type head things, you know. And it's great when you're getting older like me too, and you're losing your hair, you know, it covers up the fact that you don't have any hair. I mean, you're already struggling because you're so darn old, you know, and you've got gray hair and everything. So, you know, cover up the bald with some kind of bandana thing. And you see professional rockers do this. These guys are aging, and you know they're bald under there, and they're always wearing hats. You never see them in a picture without a hat, you know. So, here's a pro tip, though. Instead of getting a bandana, get a surgical hat. Okay, that's what this is. You can buy them online. They have all kinds of designs on them. This one's got the the guitar on fire thing. Okay, but this is actually something a doc would wear in surgery. Okay, and they're nice because they're easy to put on and take off. But they also have a sweatband on the inside, which is great when you're out playing. You're going to get hot a lot of times playing in the summer outside or playing in a bar, in a club or something, and there's lights and people, and it gets hot. You're running around while you're playing. I mean, so there's your pro tip, okay? Go for the surgical headgear. And then, dude, sunglasses. You gotta have sunglasses, man. The excuse is the lights on the stage, they're so bright, they're blowing me away. But it's actually just to look cool, man. Yeah. So get yourself some sunglasses when you're getting ready for your first gig. Okay, and then grimacing. I don't know why, but we have to, when we're playing a bendy note on our guitar, we're playing something like, I can't see now because I got my sunglasses on. We have to act like it's painful. Okay, you're playing the blues, man. It's, you're telling a story of pain, so you gotta grimace when you're playing those bending notes. But there's other times you're playing something real aggressive. You gotta look tough. So you should practice your grimacing. It's part of your stage presence, man. Get in front of a mirror with your guitar. Play something and practice. Practice grimacing. Okay. That is a pro tip right there. Okay. That's it, folks. This is where I sign off. I hope you don't feel I'm abandoning you in midstream here. But like I said, this is a great chunk of stuff to learn, and it's very powerful. I will try to keep an eye on the comments, and we'll try to answer questions when I can. But I don't know. It depends. I don't know. Maybe nobody will watch these. Maybe lots of people will watch them. So I will try to keep up with the comments if I can. Okay. But above all, let me just say, keep playing and enjoy it. That's what this is about. And so I really hope that you will, and I hope that this has helped you along in your journey toward being a guitarist and being a garage band guitarist. Take care, everybody.